First of all, young learners, kinesthetic. Energy, balls of energy, and natural to fidget, kick, move about, and be energetic. Okay? We take the first 2 years of their life to teach them to talk and walk. And when we put them in grade school, we take the next 16 years and tell them to sit down and be quiet. It's not natural. And anybody who's ever taught in a kindergarten, preschool, elementary school, we always have these problem children, and we often label them ADHD. They are doing what's natural to them. It is not natural for 40 children to come in and sit down for 40 minutes. 10-minute break, another group, 40 minutes, sit down and do it again. 10-minute break, do it again. I got this from TED Talks. There was a girl, her name was Julian Lynn. And when she was young, she was actually expelled from her preschool at a young age. Grade 4 years old, the preschool had expelled her from preschool because the teachers and the principal, the school could not control her energy. In her first grade, elementary school, the first teacher, after 2 months of trouble, taking her out, sending her to the principal's office many times, said, "I cannot teach this girl." Handed her, so she was put into a second classroom. And the second teacher, within 3 months, she had been expelled from her elementary school. Her mother was stressed, didn't know what to do, brought her to a hospital. The doctor didn't know what to do in the first 2 diagnoses. The third time, the doctor had music playing in the background, and the little girl jumped up on the bed and started dancing wildly. And the doctor said, "I don't know what's wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong. I just think she's a dancer." That girl never attended public school ever again and went on to become the choreographer for Cats. And she became a multi-millionaire and did some of the greatest dancing performances worldwide. I think young learners are kinesthetic. They start under 2 years old, very sensory motor skills, and when you're very young, kinesthetic, and we have to get movement in the classroom. Not sit them down, be quiet, and listen to me. So we have to take that natural energy and try to take advantage of it. So we do want them to move, and writing can be settlers after you stir up the energy in the class. And I also want to push them into their thinking as much as possible and create products, put it up on the wall, and hopefully stimulate and create highly motivating activities that they want to go online and write pen pals around the world. They can write their example if they like Justin Bieber or Psy or whoever they like. They'll go to their fan clubs online and write a message. And if they can't find their fan clubs, maybe they can write a letter to people, and the teacher can write, and rather than grade the writing and look for grammar mistakes, just answer the letter and reply and give it back to the student. So back and forth, real writing for relevant, realistic purpose. So drawing motivation out of the students and try to get them to write. The first thing I want you guys to do is, very quickly, I want everybody to stand up. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. I'll give you instructions. Okay, sit down. I should do this first. Okay, very quickly. My name is Nick. I like sports and traveling. What is your name?
Ellis.
Ellis.
I like to listen to music.
Listen to music and
playing sports too.
Okay, my name is Ellis. I like listening to music and playing sports.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Hannah, and I like baking.
Baking and one more.
And reading a book.
Reading a book. My name is Hannah. I like baking and reading a book.
My name is Sean. I like playing soccer and watching movie.
Okay, my name is Sean. I like playing soccer and watching a movie. What I want you to do is stand up, introduce yourself to a partner, and give 2 hobbies. Your partner is going to give their name and give you 2 hobbies back. Change identity and meet another person with the previous person's name and 2 hobbies. Continuously change your identity. Okay, stand up. 1 minute, we'll sit back down. Ready, go. Okay, stop. Sit back down. Okay. Was it easy? Easy? Okay, what I want you to do now, page 14. Open your book to page 14. On the bottom, under where it says thinkers, good thinkers or good writers, just write two people's names you just met and their two hobbies. Okay, did you get it? Okay, so what demand? This would have been cognitively demanding and language demanding. You would have had to think a lot, speak, listen, and try to get students to think and put it down. You would have forced you to think a lot, memorize, and get it back down. The physical demand also requires spelling ability to be able to write this on paper. Okay, a lot of teachers, number one, writing to me is simply thinking through my fingers, trying to get students to think. Okay, writing activities give students more time to think and prepare. Speaking and listening is in the second, it's in the moment, and can be like, what's that word? I forget it, trying to haul it out of that monitor. Whereas writing gives you time. You can create tangible products that you can look back and reflect on your work. They change the pace of the lesson. So I just had you stirred up, moving around, a lot of energy, and then I sit you back down and I bring in a settler. So I stir up, bring adrenaline in, and then calm the class back down, bring them back to writing. Okay? Number 4, it can be extremely motivating if you bring in their real interest and real purpose to write. Most teachers and many students think we use writing as time wasting. Yes? So we don't tend to use it in the classroom. We tend to think it is a solitary piece of work that we do individually and best used as homework. We tend to think it's a time waster and get the students to write, do it at home, don't do it in here because there's no speaking, no involvement, I'll get them to do it at home. But without any support, how are they going to write? It's a very difficult skill. I would say it's the most difficult skill out of the 4. You need the groundwork. Then they need the language and they need the cognitive demand what to write. Example, if they're going to write a postcard, they need the framework to which to work. If they're going to write for a birthday invitation, give them some framework to write. Sequence, first, then, next, finally. They need some sort of cognitive demand how to write, and they also need the language, what to put in there. Okay, so we give it to them as homework, and kids struggle, and they come back, and you don't get their optimal work unless you prepare the groundwork in the class. So it's very important to give students an opportunity to work together, speak, listen, write in the classroom, and it's a part of the skill of writing. So teaching techniques to support and get students to thinking. First of all, from very young age, we often see this type of writing. This here. So we give them the A. What is the next step? What do they do with their pencil? They trace it. So they start with the full letter, they see it, then they trace it again, they trace it again, they trace it again, and eventually there's nothing. Eventually, we hope they can do it on their own without the support. A child, when they learn to eat, at the beginning they have no idea how to use a spoon. A very young child uses their hand and makes a mess. And eventually they get a hold of the spoon and they're still making a mess. The mother holds this child's hand, helps them, finally in over 2 to 3 months, finally let go, and the child can use the spoon. This is called scaffolding, and giving a lot of support to the child to be able to use the spoon. Then the child can assimilate or accommodate and use a fork. At the beginning, maybe using similar like a spoon, but they will accommodate and learn to fork and use. So this idea of scaffolding, whether it's at the letter, sentence, word, sentence, paragraph, they're going to need support, and get them to look at the support, use, take the support away, hopefully they can do on their own. Okay, so lower levels, even simple things like copying from the board, this is writing. Okay, copying, fill in the blanks, unjumbling sentences would get them to think and just completing out forms. What is your name? How old are you? What is your hobby? Like this type of thing. Very simple things, and you can have controlled practice. Start simple. Okay, and then I'll go into the activities I put in the book. What I want you to do is open your book to page 16, and how can I get students to think? Okay, very quickly, page 16, work with a partner. There's a code writing. 19, 16, 9, 4, 5, 18. Number 19 corresponds to what letter? S. Okay, work with your partner and put that sentence together. Okay, ready, go. Okay, what was the sentence? Okay, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. So I did get you to think and try to go through and write the letters, okay? Very quickly, write one word with your partner, just using the code, and create your own word, okay? It can be any superhero or fictional character, okay? Just write any character, any code, just write the numbers for a word. So write the numbers related to the letters and make a word, okay? Swap your book with your partner, have them write that word. Okay, ready, go. So was it interesting doing it?
Yes.
It gets you thinking, right? And then you have to write your own. Okay, so was it motivating?
Yes.
Okay, I remember when I was young, I used to love these puzzle types. So trying to get them, and then maybe once they do it in the classroom, they figure a couple out. Aha, I understand, they got the support, now they can create their own words or sentences, okay? That's when you can send them to do for homework, okay? They understand how to do it, they're motivated. I want to make something funny, now I can go. But now you've given them both the language and the content, or the cognitive demand, what to do. Okay, they understand what to do. Now they can go home and write a couple sentences. Okay, the second one, this is an information gap and not really cognitively demanding. A lot of support. There's no thinking. One person's going to just read what's on the paper, other person listen and write. So with your partner, one person's student A and one person's student B. So allocate one person's student A, one person's student B. Student A reads, Peter Parker was an average teenager. Your partner, please listen and fill in what your partner reads. Your partner is going to read the next part. You listen and write in and fill in. Okay, so please complete that paragraph. Okay, ready, go. Okay, stop. Okay. Simple reading, writing, information gap. It's very controlled, okay? I have to do this at my students' level, I+1. If they're very low, they can only do sentence, one sentence. 2 sentences, 1 paragraph, and I just hold this from a storybook that they would enjoy reading, okay? In a classroom, 40 students, and I'll give that to the first pair. Pair 2, I'm going to get you to do page 2. Pair 3, page 3. Pair 4 does page 4. Pair 5, page 5. Page 6, page 6. These here, page like this with only 2 sentences, I have my low learners. Okay? The first page, which was very high, I give to my higher learners in the class. So 40 students, I'm jigsawing it up. I got them doing page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 pages. After I collect it, I recollect, staple it, and I have the first 20 pages of the story. Okay? Now I can either photocopy it or just put it up on the wall and get students to want to read it. So you get their product and put it up on the wall. To take this idea further, now that could have been that book, it could have been Angry Birds book, it could have been Avengers, it could have been anything. SpongeBob, Tom and Jerry, anything the students like to read. Curious George. Do you like him? Yes. Most children do. And I really did when I was young, I remember. My mother was actually a librarian. She used to bring me back books, and I enjoyed her bringing back these or those make-your-own-adventure books. And I've tried these with Korean children. The first story is Curious George Flies a Kite. The second story is Curious George Takes a Job. What I did, I'll put 4 students together. They read the first story. So, Curious George Flies a Kite. The second group reads Curious George Takes a Job. The third group reads Curious George Goes to the Hospital. And the fourth group, Curious George Rides a Bicycle. So what I want you to do is read the story and understand it. It's very simple reading. It's about 12 to 14 pages, small typed, and I want you to brainstorm and understand that story. Each of you have 4 different stories. I'm going to jigsaw you up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1's over here, 2's in here, 3's over here, and 4's over here. Okay? You go into your new group knowing 4 different stories. And what I want you to do is just simply make a poster out of the 4 stories. Get that, each person, student 1, tell for 2 minutes whatever they can get down and tell the group about the story. The second person tell what they know about the story, their story, the third one, and the fourth one, and try to create some kind of poster out of this. Okay? Do you understand? Yeah. So any type of context, any type of book, you can just get them to read a short story at their current ability, regroup them, tell them, speaking, listening, reading, and then get them to make posters. And you put that up on the wall. Next, I want them to write their own story. Okay? Curious George Goes to Everland. Okay? So Curious George Goes to Everland. First, just give them support in the classroom and brainstorm some ideas of what Curious George can get involved with. So 1 minute with your groups, with you, just brainstorm some ideas what Curious George could get in trouble with at Everland. Okay, ready, go. With your groups, brainstorm ideas what he could be doing. Okay, ready, go. Okay, very quickly. Who can give me some answers? Give me some answers. What did he get involved with? Anybody? You know Curious George. What?
He didn't ask for a hand.
Okay. Okay, shout it out then.
Climb all over the roller coaster rafters.
Okay, so he's up in the roller coaster rafters. Okay, good. Something else. Give me something. What's that?
Eating street food.
Street food. Okay, so on the roller coaster, street food. One more. Okay, on the flume ride, the water slides. Okay, and then you get them to brainstorm, mind map, get as many ideas down on paper as possible. Okay, and then first, then, next, finally. So put those 3 together with your partner. First, second, then, finally. Okay, ready, go. So basically, okay, so I could have jigsawed this up the same way. I could have took the story, student A, student B, reading, the other person listening, stapled up the first story, put it on the wall. The next 4 stories, I get them to read, understand, tell one. They know 4, then they make a poster. They put that on the wall. Next, I get them to make a mind map using color crayons and markers, and this will help make longer retention connections in the brain. Okay? And then they put their mind maps on the wall. Then I give them the structure first, then, next, finally. Now I can send them home to do at home. Okay? All the groundwork needs to be done in the classroom before they can go home and do it for homework. Okay? So hopefully now they'll go home and really, with a lot of ideas in their own free time, stimulate it, probably go on the internet, find some ideas, think about Everland, what's in Everland, and put it together, come back and hopefully want to share with their partners, okay? They could write that story, send it to you, and you can write them back with a response, okay? So involve them in the writing. Then they're going to come back, and after homework, they come in, they can peer edit. Like share your story with your partner can edit the story, okay, in the classroom. Okay, they need cognitive support, number one. They need to know the framework in which the writing is going to happen, whether it's a postcard, a birthday card, or whatever, number one. And number two, they need to decontextualize these. Okay, so I can say write a postcard. Is it easy for a child to write a postcard? No, they need examples. They need 5 or 6 examples. Then they need to break it down, decontextualize it. Who is this card going to? Who wrote it? Who's it going to? What was written? Why did he write this postcard? And is it informal or formal? And get them to break down one postcard. Get them to analyze a second postcard. And then give them a blank formatted structure and let them try to write their own. Okay? So they need the cognitive support and then decontextualize examples, and then they can write their own. Okay, let's look at adjectives. Everybody, small.
Small.
Freezing.
Freezing.
Hot.
Hot.
Boiling.
Boiling.
Burning.
Burning.
Pretty.
Pretty.
Gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Angry.
Angry.
Furious.
Furious.
Old.
Old.
Give me a word. Old, what? Ancient, hungry, starving, funny, hilarious, ugly, atrocious, hideous. Okay, what about nice? Nice, awesome, extraordinary. So I've given you some: good, fantastic, amazing, phenomenal, extraordinary, outstanding. Okay, so I'm going to get them to work on describing and making descriptive writing. Okay, bad. What are some words for bad? Awful, terrible, tragic. What about small? Tiny. Big. Huge, large, enormous. Getting them to work off of this. Okay, in your partners, one person write. Okay. I don't have a whiteboard, but okay, everybody, it's a clock. Clock. I have a clock in my room. Is a clock interesting? Pretty boring, right? How about a large clock? What about an enormous clock? A large round clock. A large round, technologically, digitally, military alarm. Okay, a large, round, technologically advanced digital alarm clock. And if you've been in the military, the alarm clock has probably annoying memories to you. Okay, I want you to feel what a clock is. Okay, how about your family? I have a mother, father, a brother, and a sister. How many people in my family? 4. So I have a mother, father, sister, and brother. Exciting family? No. I have a handsome, diligent father, beautiful, caring mother, 2 annoying little brothers. Okay? Describe your family to your partner. Okay? Ready, go. Okay, stop. Okay, so this kind of wordplay is interesting to young learners, okay? A handsome, diligent father, beautiful, caring mother, 2 little annoying brothers. And then the next sentence, get them to dig in with every word, and all the nouns, try to get them to think about and describe them using adjectives, okay? And you put adjectives up on the board and give them support as they're trying to write. Okay? So an example of something they can start with, a bad day, a nice story is in the book. With your partner, one person's a bad day, the other person is a nice story. So John had a bad day at school. He had woken late due to his bad clock, with a bad headache, and because he was in a bad mood, he had a bad fight with his bad brother. The weather was so bad that he did not walk to his bad school. Sorry. He took his bad bicycle and had a bad accident which made him late for class. Okay, take that bad and try to use as many different adjectives as possible. Terrible, tragic, atrocious, awful. Okay? Change the word bad or change the word nice in the second one. Okay, ready, go. Okay, stop. So I get students to think about it, and I want them to think about this for the rest of the semester now, starting using descriptive adjectives for anything. Now I can go back and give them back their stories that they created for Curious George, and now let them edit again. Okay? Go into giving them something like that. Okay? You can go, this may be enormous, very overwhelming how many words are here, but you judge how many words your students could take on, and then try to get them to take these words and go back into their Curious George story. Okay? Or any story you want them to write, you give them the adjectives to support. So this is language support. Okay, so you've lost an animal. Even before that. Okay, in the book, you've lost and found. Okay, my favorite TV program, first of all. Okay, my favorite TV program, swap your book with your partner, and even before that. Once I got these stories written, a bad day, a nice story, what could I do with them then? Are we finished? I have 100 people in here. What? You can share them. What I could do if I had small classroom, most people know running dictation, yes? So I take one story and I put it up on the wall. I have one student run to the wall, read a short part, come back, read to his partner who writes down. So I put the paragraph on the wall. One student runs to the wall, reads, comes back, other student sits like this. His task is to get that story on this paper. Okay, so scaffold the activity up. Now, if you got 30, 40 students in class, it can get too much. But if you're in Hagwons, 10, 12 students, 6 students reading, 6 students speaking, other 6 listening and writing. So I'm taking what they're writing and putting it back into what they're going to complete the next activity. Okay, the next one was my favorite TV program. Information gap again. Just swap, interview your partner, ask them what their favorite television program is. What is your favorite program? What kind of program? Okay, ready, go. Okay, stop. Okay, so hopefully they enjoy. You dig them into their favorite television program in the class, speaking, listening, happening in the class, everybody's involved, speaking, listening, and writing. So they're writing it down in the classroom, they built everything up, and now they can write a descriptive paragraph. So for homework, now I set them off with first, then, next, finally, or something like that. Give them the structure, and they've built the language in class, and they can complete it at home. Okay? And then get them to go back with these adjectives and continuously encourage them to keep using these things. The second one was lost and found. So you could get them to choose any object in the classroom that they lost and then get them to describe it, okay? They've lost something. Okay, when would you describe something? When would you use, okay, we always teach these ideas of long black hair, short or small blue eyes. Two hands, 2 feet, 2 legs. When in real life would you even use this vocabulary? Appearance, describing appearance, blind date. Okay, you're going to go meet somebody. Or there was a crime scene, and you actually spotted the criminal, and you were asked by a police officer to describe that criminal. Or if you were in a supermarket and you lost your baby brother, or you lost some object at the train station. Okay, so I want you to tell me, write down, describe this object so I can find it. And try to bring it to a real life purpose, why they need to, so make it relevant to the learner and make it real life. Try to stretch them deeper thinking. Okay? So something like this, my pet's name, the type of dog, and describe it. So you lost your dog. You can go through these and give me something about a dog. Give me 3 adjectives for I lost my dog. What else? I lost my gigantic what? Fat. I lost my gigantic, noisy, tiny dog, or tiny, a gigantic, tiny, gentle dog. Okay, gigantic. So you get them to write 3 adjectives to describe their dog and put it in there. It could be an object to the classroom or whatever. Get them to go back into those adjectives and describe. And they can make posters or something like that. Okay? And get these things to go up on the wall. So getting them to color, getting them to write, whether it's low level, high level. Okay, and continuously put this stuff up on the walls. What I want you to do, the next page, just write down your favorite fictional character, whether it's Simpson, SpongeBob, Avengers. Just write down the name of one character. On the bottom of the page, there's not much writing, but page 21, on the very bottom, write one fictional character that you like. Just write one character and stop. Bororo, Angry Bird, Red Angry Bird, any character, okay? Okay, swap your book with your partner, and I want your partner to write 5 questions to ask this character. Not guessing questions. Okay, so if I'm Bart Simpson, this person's going to take on Bart Simpson's persona. They like Bart Simpson, you become Bart Simpson. The other person prepare 5 interview questions. Example, how old are you? Where are you from? Like that. Prepare 5 questions to interview that person. Okay, ready, go. Okay, stop. Okay, so what students are doing, you give them context. You let them choose anything that's relevant to their interests, whether it's Angry Birds, Avengers, Simpsons, Boro Boro, whatever they want to get into, they write the character. You can bring these pictures into class, even if you collect that at the end of class. The next day, you come back, press print, bring images of all these characters, and give them their character. Then, they swap their pictures with another person who turns it over and writes inquisitive questions about that person. So they get into it and they write 5 funny questions they want to answer. Once they receive the 5 questions, the student who enjoyed that character, who chose that character, now has to write a descriptive paragraph about their favorite character, answering all 5 questions. Okay? So you're going to teach them about topic sentence, supporting sentence, concluding sentence, but they must answer all 5 questions that came back. Okay? So this will give them the framework, what needs to go into the descriptive essay. And then you go back to the adjectives and try to really encourage them to answer all 5 questions, putting the adjectives in. Okay, so they can write descriptive paragraphs about something that's meaningful to them. I know when I was young, I'm Canadian. I studied French for 12 years, grade kindergarten to grade 12. I never failed a test along the way. I don't know if well, I'll say this. I haven't studied French now in 15 years and I have 2 words. Bonjour, mon ami. That's it. That's it. So if you're not involving the learners, just memorizing is not enough. You have to get them to speak, use. This helps information processing, proceduralization, and helps it become automatic. So you get them thinking, using, and making it more automatic in the brain. Just memorizing is not enough. I passed all those tests and bonjour mon ami. Many Korean students are passing high scores on the sunung and cannot, what? And I'm fine, thank you, and you. Okay? So what I equate English education in South Korea too often, because I've taught English in Namibia in Africa, I taught in Poland in Europe, I taught in Brazil, and I taught multi-level students and multicultural students back in Canada. This winter I'm going to Oman and Cameroon to get into classrooms with the young learners. And what happens here too often is I equate education to basketball. So I say 2 years from now you have a very, very important basketball game. And I say to these 2 groups, this group over here, I'm going to give you a dozen balls and have a go at it. I'll give you a court, a dozen balls, go give it a go for 2 years. These groups over here, forget the basketballs. I have a better technique for you. I have professionals who are going to teach you. At 9 a.m. Monday morning, be ready, bring your books, because we are going to learn the history of basketball. 90 minutes, 10-minute break, come back, we are going to learn the physics of basketball. And I have a professor for you. I want you to learn the diameter of the court, the height of the hoop, E equals the MC squared from every diameter of that court, and I want you to be able to pass these physics exams every 2 months. And then you have lunch. And after lunch, come back for the most important course, the course on the NBA rulebook. And you will be tested continuously. Forget about speaking in the class, writing this stuff. I'm going to give you a teacher who's going to stand up, directly teach you, whether it's direct translation or grammar method, whatever method, but I want you to pass the tests. And the tests are very important to get an A+, very important to get scholarships, and very important to the success of your entire life. I was an editor for the Sunung exam as well, and I took the exam. I've never got higher than a 96 on that exam. And the reason is, a native speaker doesn't think about language in those terms. I could actually haul Michael Jordan out of here and take this history or rulebook test, and Michael Jordan, same, would only score a 96 over here. A native speaker doesn't think about language in tight analytical language. Okay? So a native speaker, when they read the story, they totally understand it. But then they say, A, whew, I've seen that. B, I'm sure I used something like that. C, sounds good. What's wrong with C? Totally ambiguous, have no idea. We have to make a guess. Whereas the learners are thinking very explicitly what the rule is, but they have a very difficult time producing it. No opportunity to produce. They can see it in reading, or if you emailed them and they saw it in reading or they heard it, they would have much better understanding. But production is very weak, whether it's speaking or writing. To actually pull it out of the brain and put in use is very difficult. So we have to get students to use and use and use and build up that skill. Okay? So that is why we have to, hopefully, especially with young learners, standardized tests are becoming very important in America as well. And they bring a lot of stress on the learners and bring depression upon the learners as well. If you read about behaviorist education and how drastic it is on the learners, we have to take a more humanistic approach, make it interesting, make it relevant to the learners, get at their interests, get at their current levels, and try to implement. And when Johnny puts his hand up, teacher, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And you're like, whoa, whoa, we have 40 minutes for that. And if he says, I have to go to my grandmother's house, you say, whoa, that's grade 6 material. We have 4 years to get ready for that. I think we have to adapt to the learner and not force the learner to adapt to the curriculum. We have to adapt to their interests, learning styles, and level. Okay, whether it's sentence level, word level, or paragraph level. Okay, for me, I love ice hockey. You give me a French passage on Wayne Gretzky, and I was motivated. I don't know if you know who Wayne Gretzky is. He's the Michael Jordan of ice hockey. And it really motivated me. But I'm not interested in Star Wars. So if you gave me that kind of text, it's not relevant to me. So getting at each student's interest is going to be very, very important. Okay? And then bring it into the writing process. Okay, so you can take that idea then and give them happy birthday cards, give them the format, for, date, time, location, or you give them the format plus the language and you do something like that. Okay? Much more likely they'll take this and get into the writing and produce the best effort that they can produce. Get at what they want and they are interested in. So once you collected the 20 characters and you know everybody's interests, we have to go forward with that and then bring the adjectives in as well. Okay, the next one is the theme park. Up here, okay, I took the idea using stickers, just giving them stickers, trying to get them to write a story. And this could be at their interests again. A theme park or a travel brochure. Okay, so you choose a country, a theme, and go on the internet and do a research. Okay, and then try to go online at home and find as much information as possible, bring back some brochures, and come back into class. Okay, so choose a country with your partner and very quickly answer those 9 questions, 1 to 9. Okay, choose any country and answer the questions and ask each other. Okay, ready, go. Okay, stop. So, the idea is find the student's interest again, what places they're interested in, whether that's Everland, Latte World, Ubang Land, where the children want to go. This could be there. Maybe they'll choose a country, Japan, go back to Canada, America. Let them choose a place. I'm not going to force a place on you. I want you to brainstorm, give me the place. Then at home, try to find some pictures, any information you can get, come back to class. The next day I'm going to get them to interview each other, speak about this as much as possible, and get these questions, answer them in class. And then encourage them to make brochures, something like that. Okay? And again, put it up on the wall. So start with their interests in mind. Okay, the next one goes back a bit, very easy, but I do want to encourage this to happen. So information gaps, I use them a lot. Pair work, you can jigsaw it as well. Just swap your book with your partner. Again, I'm always doing this, swap your book. Because why? Because I want to involve the learners and create information gap. Okay, cooperative learning. I'm trying to get them to learn as much. Okay. One question, what's your name? One question, one answer. One question, one answer. One question, one answer. Okay, ready, go. Okay, stop. Okay. We're going to finish quickly. Okay, so I get you to interview your partner. I write their information in their book. I give them back their information. I want them to write a descriptive paragraph, and Once they've written, so you make your self-profile, answer all the information, and then I want you to go online to studentsoftheworld.info. And I want you to send an email. This website has pen pals from worldwide. So in over 160 different nationalities, you can find pen pals at any age group. So write this. Your homework is to go home and send an email from somebody in Africa, South America, India, Europe, Canada. Find somebody around the world and send this to them. And wait for a response. So when you're writing for an audience. Most people think it's solitary, but it's not. We speak, we hope somebody listens. We write, we hope somebody reads. And we wait for a response. When I was at the elementary school, I had 40 students, and I went back to Canada in the summer, and I worked with a friend who was working in an elementary school in Canada. So I set him up with pen pals in Canada. I'm from an isolated town. These children they don't know anything about Korea. The Canadian children were so drawn into it. They loved it. They're like, wow, I want to meet this Korean child. Who is this Korean kid? The Canadian kids became obsessed. They became addicted. And I kept going back. When I got back to my Korean school, the kids, 2 or 3, kept going after 6 months. And I just said, what happened? And they just said, I'm too busy. So I went back 1 year later. The same teacher asked me, can you get me 5 Korean children per 1 child? The Canadian children, they have nothing to do. It's this rural area. I don't know, but most of them, the majority of 90% of the Canadian students wanted to keep the reading and writing going. But the majority of the Korean students start to slow down. But if you can encourage them to send pictures each away, get to learn about each other, you can learn about each other's culture. The Canadian kids are asking questions like, do you really use chopsticks? And the Korean kids are telling them about kimchi, and a Canadian kid, what are you talking about? They have no idea. So it's real and meaningful for the children. And if they don't get responses, you can take the letter as if they were writing a pen pal and swap the letters to another person in the class who has to respond to the letter. Okay? You can get them to write letters to Kim Yuna, Park Ji-sun, Park Tae-won. Find their fan websites. Many of them have fan websites. And if you send a letter, there's somebody working to give you a response. And the students become, whoa, I wrote Kim Yuna. Kim Yuna wrote me back. But somebody within the fan club possibly writing you back. And if not, write a letter to Kim Yuna, somebody else in the class respond. And they write a letter to Kim Yuna, you collect it, rather than grammar and putting red marks all over it, respond to the letter and try to get more information and send it back to them. It takes a bit of time, but I think when you get used to it, it doesn't take any more time than grammar correction. Just minor corrections, a few more adjectives in, encouraging, and write them back, and they have a reason to write back and forth. So the last one I'll give you is creating a story. Create a story. I talk about giving them the support. First, they should read a story, okay? Short story, 1-page, 2-page story, and then try to get them to dig in and decontextualize this story. Where does the story take place? Who is the characters in the story? Is a character in the story who does what? Is another character in the story? A problem occurs, after that, then the problem is solved. So they read a story, decontextualize it, and put the information into writing. So you're trying to get them to think about the process of what is really in the story that was already written. So in the stories, there's always a topic sentence, a setting, where, when, characters, plot, resolution. What I do, I have these cards with topic sentences. Although the island was deserted, there were many strange noises coming from the jungle trees. Or, I always wondered what it would be like to live in a museum. The time machine landed with a thud knocking me out of my seat. Or simpler, something easier. As I was walking along the beach, I spotted a bottle with a piece of paper inside. So randomly, just choose any topic sentence. Okay? Take any one. I'll give them out between the students. They choose one. That is their topic sentence. They write that down. Okay? Then I take the settings. And I have some settings. The year 2230. Where? In the park. On a deserted island. In Jeju-do. So I take these, I shuffle them, and they get 2 setting cards. One for where and one for a place. The character, again, I have character cards. Your pet, your teacher, talking fish, a fortune teller. Put this into the paper. And then you grab the plot, and I have same. Suddenly I was no higher than a blade of grass. At this rate, I would only survive 24 hours. Parts of stories, you can write them yourself. Write some plots, put them on a card, and better yet, well, then you give them to them. They take these random story bits of pieces, they fill out this guide, and then get them to write the story. Okay? Going back to their adjectives. And better yet, just give them blank setting cards, blank character cards. They write the characters, Park Ji-sun, SpongeBob and Park Ji-sun, Park Tae-won. Get them to write them in class. Just tell them to write some settings, some characters, some plots, some topic sentences. Show them the examples of the other topic sentences. Get them to write something similar. Rearrange them, give them out, and then put them into the framework. Okay? Once they got the framework and the outline created, they can go home and then reconstruct, come back, write their stories, get them to stand up, present them in class. And the good thing about using adjectives, when they present, get them to stress them. Voice, intellect, the super segmentals, okay? Stress, stretch, and pause. It was enormous. It was huge. There were 3,000. And take these adjectives and get them to practice stress, intonation with them, okay? And then they write their stories, they come up, hopefully tell them with passion, putting a lot of adjectives in, practicing stress, stretch, and pause. So to finish, you're going to do something like this. Okay, 5 minutes. Characters, setting, problem, solution. You can give them some sort of format. Give them something like this. Blank cartoons with the writing. So the writing is on the side. They can move it around. Just blank cartoons. Any cartoon, rub out the bubbles, get them to write, and then give them the language and the support, what needs to go into the writing. Topic sentence, 3 main ideas, and the conclusion. Okay? Character cards. Just go online, you can find them, just Google character cards, you can print blank ones, haul them in, and they start writing. So hopefully through all of this, you motivate them, you stimulate them at their interests, their current ability, kinesthetic, auditory, visual learners in the class, manipulate it all, create a habit of writing, and then watch your story, write the future. Okay, thank you. Okay. I hope some of it stimulated you and can get you thinking about, I don't know everything about writing, but I think if you get at their interests, you support, give the language, you're much more likely to get a lot of this to come out. Okay? Okay, thank you.